and we are going to kick off with the one that we have all seen this week, and that is 65. Now,
65.
65. Now, this is a film that I feel like. Ooh, I don't know what you guys think about it, right? But I feel as if there's very little you can say about the premise of this film without it becoming a bit of a spoiler for the beginning of the film. I think, but
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I suppose we could put it like, I mean,
I have an idea. I have an idea, and I have an idea of how I was going to say that. I was going to hand it over to Sharon to tell us more about what the film is.
you
But
might the
essentially,
film, yeah.
this film looks like somebody came up with an idea, and they had an idea written out on a piece of paper on the back of a napkin or something like that. And it was essentially, I want to see a film where we have dinosaurs and somebody fighting
I,
dinosaurs with
I was going to say,
space age weaponry.
yeah, it was very much like the Jurassic Park series things, but there were some dinosaurs that I didn't recognise.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like imagine if somebody was let loose in Jurassic Park, but with sci-fi weaponry. That's kind of
Yeah,
like the basic idea of what this film is about. And then I feel like then from that they went, okay, that's what we want to see. And then plot wise, we're going to figure out whatever plot we have to make that happen. To
yeah,
make that
yeah,
central thing happen. So if we can go within the bounds of that, because I feel like giving too much of exactly what happens at the beginning of this film is a bit of a spoiler.
yeah.
Sharon, what do you think? Tell us more about this film?
Yeah, it's as you say, a space traveler, should we say, ends up crashing onto a planet that which I don't think it's a spoiler to say it's
Well, that's the
identified
thing. That's
as
the thing. That's the bit that I think is a spoiler.
okay. He's a space traveler who crash lands on a planet, and this planet has got what we would recognise as dinosaurs on it.
Yes.
And he's a truck driver, a space truck driver, where he's employed to do these long range missions to take passengers who are in like a cryostasis sort of thing, from one end of the galaxy to the other,
Yep.
for whatever reasons. But they want to travel, but they obviously don't want to spend 2 years of their lives, so they go into sleep. So he just transports them. He's a truck driver, and unfortunately, there's an incident, and he ends up on this planet, and he's all these passengers who were in stasis. He's tried to find them, but he's basically only managed to find one, which is a small girl.
Yep.
And so the two of them are on this planet, and they obviously they find out that they're not alone on the planet, but it is inhabited by a dinosaur life forms. And so they have to navigate their way across this hostile world with things that they're not expecting to find. They have a mission.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this mission, the only they can accomplish the mission is by traveling a distance, and so they have to get there from one place to the other. They end up encountering the wildlife and the natural phenomena and everything that life and on a
all
primitive
the
planet throws
perils,
at them.
all the perils,
All the
that
perils. All the
all
perils.
the perils. Yeah,
And with that, it is a sort of peril-filled movie. It's one of those genres where it's like, okay, cool, we survived that. What next? Ooh, another one. What next? That kind of thing. It is that
Doug
kind of.
McClure, yeah. If we had Doug McClure, he would have been in it. In the 70s.
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
It's like,
you may remember me from such films. Yeah,
yeah, so it is kind of like that mix of like survivorist peril movie that slash like journey to the center of the earth type thing is like, oh, everything wants to kill you, what are you gonna. Sean, what did you think of it?
okay, well, yeah, it was pretty much sort of standard fare. There was nothing. There was a couple of convenient moments of narrow escapes, which I were like. But the one thing that does bug me, although I tried to make excuses for it, because I tried not to be quite as hard on a film, but
Yeah.
when someone has a lot of trauma to their body and can still function, which we'll come to a bit later as well when some of the other stuff we're reviewing. But when I mean, let's say for instance, not so much about it. There's a lot of injury, a lot of blood.
Yeah.
So especially at the start, he's crashed, for goodness sake, but he just seems to have unlimited amount of he can move free, he can move. I mean, he's like if you've got, I'm sure if you have got a dislocated shoulder, you aren't going to be able to fire a gun. Or if you are, it's going to cause you a damn lot of pain, and you're going to see some wincing which I could have.
Well, it is futuristic technology, Sean. It might not have
It's
a
true, yeah.
kickback.
So perhaps
It might not have-
there's no recoil, and
Yeah.
and as he's sort of, they might have a different physiology to us. So I was trying to,
Yeah,
because they did
yeah.
have advanced like healing, like a first aid kit, didn't they? Which was pretty
Yeah,
magic.
yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
I can make allowances, but there was also one time when he was in peril, and I thought, that's that was convenient. After, well, anyway, I don't want to give too much away, but
you don't want to give too much away. But essentially, let me put it this way: what I think at the beginning, when I said that it's like somebody wrote on the back of a napkin, I want to see a movie where you have dinosaurs and you have somebody fighting dinosaurs, but with space age weaponry.
yeah.
If that synopsis, if you think yes, this is the film for you. If you don't think yes, this is not the film for you. And I love the fact that they are that simple about the film. The film's about 90 minutes, and I love it. There's not enough films that are just 90 minutes nowadays.
90 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and it says this is what it is. This is what the whole thing is. We're going to come up with
exactly.
some story. We're going to come up with some story to try and explain why on earth you have dinosaurs and space age weaponry. But that's not really important. You have dinosaurs and space age weaponry. That's the important thing. And you have that the scene you're talking about, like dislocated shoulders and everything like that. That's just done for and it's not done for logic. It's done for tension.
No,
it is.
Yeah, no. I understand all that.
And I mean,
Because
so
there are
much.
a few inconsistencies. Sorry, Jason. I'll
Yeah,
let you make your point.
Probably more than a few, I think.
Well, yes, there were. 'Cause there's one scene involving a rope, and I'm thinking, how
That's the
long
one.
was
That's
that
exactly the
rope?
one. That's the one I was talking about. That's the one I was talking about.
Oh, yes, yes.
That's the scene that I was
Yes, the rope.
I was thinking of. Exactly the same scene.
Yeah, because
that
I
you're
thought when you first see this, there's a bit of rope in the film. Obviously, we just explained. When you first see this bit of rope, it doesn't look that long. It looks a reason. How long's a piece of string? It looks like it's a reasonable amount of rope. And then there's a scene where you're thinking, golly, was it elasticated? Because that rope went an awful long way.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just being picky. But if I was just thinking,
Futuristic
and
space
I'm
age
not-
rope.
I'm not
I
Mr.
think
Picky, like I know Mr. Shawnee can be
Shawnee,
Mr. Picky
that's it,
Shawnee.
yeah.
But there's a couple of things in there, but again about the
Yeah.
geography, I'm thinking you spent 2 days getting to your destination.
Yeah.
And you see this phenomena at the beginning of the film when he's exploring the area around his crash site.
He's got this like whizzy tricorder thing that doesn't seem to take any damage
but
and
like
works
Star
no matter what
Trek,
happens.
They spent a couple of days travelling, and then the geography from where they were, they got back to this sort of crash site area very quickly. I thought I couldn't put it. The geography in my head was like, well, you've just spent 2 days walking to get to this area because of the key point of the film, and yet at the key minute you're right back where you started again.
But like Tosin said,
But
it's
I'm being picky. I mean,
yeah.
this is not the sort of film that you that
Oh yes, I know what you mean. It has to do with the law of water coming out of the ground.
yes.
Yes. I agree with you. I agree with you. And the thing is, the truth is that this film, as it was going along, I was actually really, really enjoying it. I was enjoying the leanness of it. I was enjoying it's like a stripped back, if they had a lot of money in the 70s, like, almost like a stripped back thriller thing. This film has about 4 speaking characters in the entire film.
Yeah, there's only 4. The cast is only 4 people. Yeah.
Yeah, the cast is like only 4 people. There's only 2 people for most of the runtime, and I was liking it, and I was thinking, ooh, you know what? This might, because I was thinking this is for me was a 3. It was always a 3. And then there were some touches about it that I was thinking this might be lean enough and everything like that to maybe push it into a 4, but then some stuff happened. So like some of the things that you've mentioned, like the scene you're talking about, like the geography is like, hang on, you went past there about 45 minutes ago in the film runtime, and then all of a sudden you're back there. Yeah, that was a problem. But not only that, it did something, talking about Jurassic Park movies, something that I had serious issues with the last Jurassic Park movie, where you have a dinosaur and you do something to the dinosaur and it has no effect. Then 5 minutes later, you do exactly the same thing to the dinosaur, and it's like, oh, the dinosaur dies. and this had something like that right at, like in the big climax of the film, where I was like, wait, but why did that work then and that didn't work back then? And I think towards the end of the film, there were just some inconsistencies. There were there's something very very because they're trying to get to this point because they're trying to get to an escape pod to escape this planet, and when they get to the escape pod, there's something very convenient that happens that means that they can escape, and the thing is, but at the same time as I was watching this film, I feel like I don't think that there's anything in this film that is. I don't think there's anything in this film that's original. I mean, apart from the fact that you have space age weaponry and dinosaurs, I don't think there's anything in this film that's original. There's a lot of shots like, do you remember the film Real Steel?
Yeah, Real Steel with the
Hugh
robots.
Jackman,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So Real Steel, the climax of Real Steel ends up in this thing that you see coming from a mile off. You see, this is how it's going to end. This is what's going to happen. Hugh Jackman's going to do this thing. You know that's what's coming. But by the time it comes, you're like, yes! And you punch the air. Anyway, I was like, I know exactly what was going to come, and yes, let it happen. And there's quite a few scenes in this. Like, there's one, I'll say one with a waterfall. There's one with a waterfall when they wake up and there's a waterfall, and you know exactly what's going to happen. You know, like I'm watching it going, this is what's going to happen. This is why that shot decided that this is going to happen, and it happens, and I'm like, yes. And when it happened, I wasn't kind of like, oh, for goodness sake, oh yeah. I was kind of like, yes, you did it. That's exactly what I would have done. Yay! And so there's almost like a dumb fun to be had in this film. And the dumb fun was making me think it could be a 4, but then as it got towards the end, there were just some things that happened. I was like, no, that's way too convenient. No, why did that? No. Okay, cool, it's a 3. And so for me,
and I will agree with you all the way there. As I say, it was. I mean, it could have been a lot better with a little bit of care, but it was just what it was really. It was space age versus dinosaurs.
Yeah, space age weaponry versus dinosaurs, and I think that's what they wanted to make. That's what they were.
Yeah. It wasn't. But what I mean is, it was. You're right about the running time because it was sort of enough, wasn't it? It was enough, and it wasn't like I didn't get too humpy crossing my legs type things with it. I think you'd have been all right with this one, Sharon. We'd have just sat there and watched it.
I was going to watch it. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I thought it was fun in the right places. Again, you a few things you're like, that makes no sense at all. It's always say very convenient. But I liked the little girl in it. I liked the two characters. I thought they worked well together.
Yeah.
I thought he had this. The Adam Dreyfuss character had this persona where you're thinking. I thought they obviously they sort of went away from type a few times, thinking, I like those sort of touches of. The fact that he did try initially, it was like he did try to bond with this little girl in a non-creepy way, and sort of had this parental sort of responsibility for her. He looked after her. And I thought he had a lot to. Had a lot going for it. For all the fact that it was nonsense. I liked it.
I liked it. I liked it.
I liked it. I liked it.
I liked it. I'll just be like, it was directed by the guys who wrote the original draft of A Quiet Place, and I feel like the central premise of A Quiet Place was given a bit more care about the central premise of that than was here. Here was just kind of like, we want to see this, and okay, cool, no problem. There's space for this sort of films. It's a 3-star. It's enjoyable. Don't think too hard. And now we go over to Netflix.
To Sharon, you're 3-star as well, are you?
3 as well, 3
as well. Yeah. Okay, so now
it's what 3 stars are made for. This is the film. It's got 3 stars before you even watch it, hasn't it?
Yeah, before you even watch it. Yeah.
I think before you even watch it, it's got 3 stars, and it can it can only elevate itself and go up a bit more, or mess it up completely and go lower. but the premise of the film, it's a 3-star premise. It's like, come watch this. It's going to be fun. Come enjoy 90 minutes of the cinema, and I'm here for that.